Hey, good morning, guys. It is really starting to feel like fall in the garden. The air is cool, there's a little bit of a breeze, and last night I was checking my weather station on my way to bed, and I saw that it was 56 degrees out here, which is 13 Celsius, and peppers and tomatoes, you're told in the spring not to put them out until after the nights are above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are getting down to that point where peppers and tomatoes are going to start to struggle. I mean, the tomatoes have been struggling already, but that actually set off an entire dream that I had where it was going to get way too cold, like almost freezing for like one night, and every other night for like the next month was going to be fine. And I was just like scrambling to get frost fabric all over everything because my peppers are not fully done ripening yet. So today we're going to go through and look at everything in the garden. We're going to see all the stuff that has started to come up for fall, and also some of the stuff that I've tried to do for fall and hasn't actually gone so well. And I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do about that. So the first thing I want to show you guys is how all the pole beans are doing. This is actually the most pole beans that I've been pulling all summer. You can see I've got a lot of different stages represented here. Some of them, like this one that's just a little bit green, not quite ready yet. Oh, hello. And then we've got some that I definitely waited too long and the beans started developing. And then farther on somewhere, I'm sure there's some dried pods of stuff that is fully mature and ready to be harvested as a dry bean. But definitely, as we come around here, look at all these weeds. I'm gonna have to do something about this. I'm excited for the grass to die back. Oh yeah, here's one. This one's almost dried out. Can probably pull this one and bring it inside to finish drying. But yeah, so these beans, I like them a lot. I've said this before because they're great as fresh beans and as dried beans. Oh, and they're still making more little babies. Look at that. The beans are doing great. They are getting munched on a little bit, but that doesn't seem to be slowing them down. And I have not yet taken out my tomatoes yet. It definitely is about time. I'm definitely seeing that the fruit that I'm getting off of them is not exactly ideal. It is like half rotted before I can even get to it because of the pests. I'm still getting some off of this Borghese tomato, and these smaller ones seem to be doing a better overall than the bigger ones as time goes on. I definitely do have plans to go ahead and yank out all the tomatoes and make room for, I planted, I think it's fava beans under here, but I did not actually come back and do a good job watering, so I'm not sure if any of them are actually going to come up. And that is part of what I need to change about my plan for fall, is because it hasn't been raining like I'm used to. My whole like put seeds in the ground and hope for the best strategy is not working out as well as I'm used to. So I have to actually be very intentional about, okay, I put seeds here, I'm going to water it really well, and I'm gonna keep coming back and checking on stuff to germinate. And I know I'm over here like, oh, woe is me, I have to actually water my garden, whereas some of you, like, that is all you have to do is water your garden because you don't get rain like we do here. But I am like really nervous about the fact that we haven't gotten rain in so long. And this is a good example of what I mean, where the tomatoes aren't super good anyway. Like, yeah, I could eat this, but the texture is not going to be great. And you can see just all the different spots on it. That's from all of the sap sucking bugs that have been sticking their little beaks into it and munching on it. And also just the fact that the plant itself is feeling less healthy because it's, you know, past its prime. It's not feeling like it can defend itself as well against the pests. So this is just happening a lot more. Oh, look at that. This is a fava bean sprout. My neglect has not completely bitten me in the butt. Although you'll notice it's right next to the drip line. And I do run the drip line occasionally, so that might have something to do with it. But we've got at least one. You can see that the tomatoes are definitely still trying to put on flowers and fruit. I am not entirely sure how much of this would actually set fruit. And because of that, like definitely early on, I was very tempted to just leave my plants all the way until the frost. Planes out here deciding to be loud interrupt me. Anyway, it can be really hard to make that decision to pull out a plant that is technically still producing, and it's something that I struggle with, definitely. But especially if you have less space than I do, then it's kind of the cutthroat thing you got to do if you want to get the most production out of your small space. You just have to continue putting in the things that are going to be doing the work and actually producing a lot of food for you. That is part of why I like interplanting so much, why I come through here and I say, okay, I'm putting in fava beans now. It's going to take them a while to come up and actually need this space, so that gives me more time to, baby my dying tomatoes along. And by the time that these are coming up, I will feel a lot better about taking these out. And having these here when these sprout isn't going to affect them very much. So that is kind of the trade-off that I do, and I also do like doing that to help keep the soil covered from like a sun perspective. I definitely need to come through and add some more mulch in here, but in the meantime, all these plants leafing out and creating a canopy for my sprouting seeds down here will help keep the soil just a little bit damper and make it easier for them. Alright, this middle section of the garden here, this is probably the most productive row for me at the moment. I've got not just all the eggplants and all the peppers essentially in this row, but I also have been doing a very good job of sprouting some peas. And you can see them in between all my clovers here. This is a pea that's been coming up. Here's another one. There's not as many in here as I have planted, but some is definitely better than none. Especially again because of the drought, because I definitely do not get to come out here every single day and water every single inch of this garden where I've put seeds. But you can see there's a red pepper back in there. I think somewhere in here, oh yeah, we will find some of the pretty eggplants. This one is Antigua or fairy eggplant. We've got plenty of peppers. Oh no, something got to this one before I could. That's not great. I'll leave that one for the bugs. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one. Let's see. Let's pull this one as well. These are supposed to be Lesa peppers. I saved my own seeds, and I think it's hard to say if this particular plant got crossed. And now it is a helicopter interrupting me. How rude. Everybody's out today. Anyway, so yeah, these are probably Lesa peppers. I definitely saved my own seeds, and I think some crossing happened because, some of the fruits look like Lesas and some definitely don't. But they're all sweet peppers, which is nice because when you have peppers crossing, there's a very high chance that you end up with spicy peppers if you're growing them anywhere near, just because spicy is the dominant gene. Otherwise, there's no real reason to protect your blossoms if you're trying to get sweet peppers, as long as you don't care about like the shape and everything that you end up with. I definitely liked the Lesa pepper shape because it was really cute little come here. Okay, I almost pulled up the plant doing that. I'm gonna have to get some clippers. Definitely the cute little heart shape is what sells me on the Lesa. This has sort of that shape. It's just pretty. I like it. As we go further down here, we'll start running into the hot peppers. Also, hello. These eggplants are getting big. I should probably pull these as well. This is looking like an Ivar basket right here. Let's see. Thank goodness these peppers turn red when they're ready, because otherwise I would never see them in this jungle. The red stands out really nicely. But one of the ones that I'm mostly waiting on, one of the ones that had me panicked in my dream, is the Tabasco, because last year this happened to me where my Tabasco was too green by the time that the frost came around, and I definitely did not have enough peppers for sauce. So that is looking pretty promising down there. Can probably start pulling some of those, and if you just look in this section, it looks like candy everywhere. These gorgeous, gorgeous peppers. I love these ones that stick straight up just because they're so cute. This one in here right in front of me is Tripodera Warner, and yeah, they're adorable little baubles of joy in the garden. Buena Mulata is still producing heavily. This plant was the first to produce and has been like one of my most productive plants so far. As we move past the peppers though, we can see the sadness of this area. If you remember, I had planted a bunch of brassica seedlings in here, and almost all of them are gone. I have the remnants of this tiny one here, and I have 1, 2 there, and I think that's it for this area. I think something came along and munched all the baby seedlings pretty hard, and then on top of that, you know, it was really hot and really dry, and it was like impossible to get these guys enough water to keep them healthy. So I don't have these big brassica seedlings here like I really wanted. The same thing kind of happened over here. You can see I have 1 left from all of them. And I do have a few more in my tray that I can go ahead and try and put out. But I'm thinking I might have to direct seed some different stuff here. Getting those big brassicas to actually work here has always been a struggle. I'm always so jealous of people that I see growing like cabbages with like no effort, it seems. It's just really hard to get them to actually have enough time here, because while we do have a really long warm season, our transitional season is very short, and that's kind of the ideal season for all of these big brassicas, and they also need so much time. So I'm left either trying to like struggle them over the winter or not really do them at all. So I think I might try direct seeding some things like kale, which should do pretty well over the winter. Definitely some lettuces, some spinach. Maybe I will also try direct seeding a couple of broccolis to see what happens. But my hopes are not very high for the big brassicas this year, because my window of getting them in has closed as far as like getting them started and getting transplants in. Just look down and we have another invader in here. This guy definitely is gonna eat this plant fully if I don't get rid of him. I gotta put you down. We've got another spider to feed him to, so let's see if she likes it. Oh no, I scared her. Okay, well, to the birds it is. Tasty little treat for you guys. Okay, so anyways, back to what we were talking about. I wanted to mention, in between this failed corn, I definitely need to start planting some more stuff in here, so this might be a good spot to kind of broadcast some seeds and water in really well. This should help shade the soil a little bit, and I do have like a tiny bit of popcorn in here. Definitely nothing like I did last year, but I'm gonna still try and use this space over the winter if I can, and eventually I will be chopping these off at soil level, leaving the roots in place, and I'll do that once whatever I decide to plant here actually comes up. Coming in to take a look at our little archway here, the blue butterfly peas have been going crazy. They are really enjoying this weather, and I am actually probably going to get some seeds. These pods are taking a really long time to actually mature, and that makes me really glad that I decided so early in the season to let some of the flowers go and actually make seeds, because last year I definitely did not get any seeds from my plant. Oh, that is definitely somebody's little hidey hole. Definitely I did not get enough seeds last year, and this year I did not want to make that same mistake. So I am harvesting a whole lot less flowers in the hopes that I get a lot of seeds, especially because I only had like 1 or 2 plants come up here. I would like to have enough seeds to be able to make sure that I get a full trellis of blue butterfly pea flowers next year. They're also coexisting with my cucumbers pretty well. I'm still getting these ones that are funny shaped, and I'm fairly certain that that's the inconsistent watering, which is not going to improve if the drought does not improve. So there's another one with a little skinny butt. And definitely along here I need to plant some more like standard peas to go ahead and climb up this trellis. I did plant on this trellis, not all of them have come up, so I'll have to replant that too. But I did not get around to doing this one like I had hoped. Let's see, is there anybody? Oh yeah, these ones don't have skinny butts, they have skinny necks. Otherwise very beautiful though, you know. If these guys are actually getting sufficient water, I'm sure these would be great cucumbers. Oh look, there's another one doing it. Over here on our noodle bean trellis, the production is definitely slowing down, but it hasn't fully stopped. You can see there's still flowers coming in on the plant. I've definitely been pulling a lot of these dried pods off. They've got my dried beans in them. I actually, what was it, like 3 or 4 days ago, made a big batch of chili with dried beans from last year from this plant and the pole beans over there, and it's great. I really love these beans for their dual productivity. Let me see if I can find the pea. Yes, the singular pea that came up and is growing. This is what I had hoped to have all over the trellis, but I just have the one. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. I have 2, but not as many as I had hoped. So we're gonna have to replant and try again. Let's get you up onto this trellis, buddy. Okay. So yeah, definitely still some young beans coming on, some flowers, but not as many as there were, because, you know, as it's slowing down, as it's allowed to actually fully reproduce and make mature seeds, the plant is trying just not quite as hard as it was. I think next year I'm going to plant this trellis a little bit more densely. The amount of fresh beans I've had has been great, but I want more dried beans. I want to be able to use them in everything and not have to buy dried beans. Alright, so let's come over here and take a quick look at some of the stuff that I've got going on in the raised bed section. I did want to show you guys, oh look, this spider's been moving around a lot. Hopefully it settles down. Anyway, this is my cucumbers in my Vigo self-watering planter, and these are looking so much better than they did the first time around with that bad soil. I also put in a couple of peas in here. You can see that one coming up right over there, to just kind of grow up along with them. I don't know if I'm going to get good cucumbers from this before the frost comes, but I figured I would at least try. Because I did want to have cucumbers in this planter specifically because it is self-watering, and you've seen what happens to the cucumbers when they don't get enough water. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. I did also want to show you guys my carrots. You can actually kind of see them on camera now. They're starting to put on their first set of true leaves, and I'm very happy with this. There's 2 different varieties here. I think one is Coral with a K, and the other one is Purple Dragon, and I just kind of like sprinkled some of them here and sprinkled the other variety here. I don't know which is which, but when they're coming out of the ground it'll be very obvious because one will be orange and one will be purple, and I definitely did that for myself on purpose because I know that I'm really bad at labeling things. So you can see I definitely just broadcast some seeds, and there's like dense spots and less dense spots, but I am not mad about it. I'll definitely thin these out a little bit, and I'm just excited to have carrots twice in a row. I think I've got it down. I also did a germination test on the seeds that I saved from my own Auxhart carrots. That is Oxhert. That's actually the carrot that I named my channel after. That's what the logo is. Anyways, I did a germination test on those seeds, and they are doing great. They sprouted so quick in something like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, like record time for a carrot. And I've been doing this little experiment where I took the heads, I pulled off as many seeds as I could, but I knew I hadn't gotten them all. And I was like, what if I just lay them in this empty pot and water them? What will happen? And lo and behold, we've got more carrot sprouts in here. So this is like even lazier than what I did before. I'm trying to decide now if I should leave the heads as they are, or if I should like remove them so that these carrots have more room to grow. And I'm leaning toward the lazy side of like just leaving them, seeing what happens. There's a lot of little babies in here, so that's pretty exciting. And of course I've got to show you guys these little babies. They are just getting to the point where they're going to start getting big. You can see the first true leaves coming on. Once they get past this stage, they start getting big really fast. Like you can see this one has already gone 2 true leaves. And again, because I broadcast the seeds, it is very sporadic. Like there's some bare spots and there's some spots that are too crowded. But honestly, for the like only tiny bit of effort it took to broadcast the seeds and kind of mix them in, I do think that it's worth it for it to be a little disorganized. But that's just my opinion on the trade-off. In here we've got, most of these are rutabagas. I think some of them are turnips. I've got a few dwarf peas in here. These are the Tom Thumb variety, I think. And then there's like, I don't know, a few beets here and there. I think that one is a beet, and I think that one is a beet. Okay, and before we go inside, I just want to show you kind of what I got out of the garden today. I found this eggplant. I forgot that I planted an eggplant that looked like this. That sounds about right, like me. It's a beautiful color though. I've got a few more eggplant in here, some hot peppers. I pulled one of those cucumbers. I've got a few of those little tomatoes. Definitely some of these, what are these? Fish peppers. I think some of these are gochujang, or this one's a cayenne. And then most of these are also buena mulatas down in here. Of course, the sweet peppers as well that you'll see me pull. And then the dried noodle beans. I am going to go inside and probably get started on a batch of Ivar. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next week. But until then, happy gardening.